You often cite this story from Michael Phelps at the Olympics. So let's introduce the idea of framing and how foreshadowing failure can help you, and how did that help Michael Phelps?
Sure. So, the Michael Phelps story is that, in 2008 at the Beijing Olympics, he was on the Olympic stage for the first time in a really big way.
Mhm.
That's when everyone started to know his name and follow his career trajectory for many reasons. He was amazing. He is amazing. But at the Beijing Olympics, he was on the brink of doing something that no Olympian has ever done in the history of the Olympic Games. And that's win 8 gold medals in the single Olympic Games.
Yep.
So, at the time of this story, he had already won 7 gold medals. He just had the 200-meter fly to do. And if he won that, he'd win his 8th gold medal and go down in Olympic history for doing something no one had ever done before. As soon as he dove into the pool, his goggles started to leak. When he had just one length of the pool left to go, he was swimming completely blind. His goggles were completely filled with water. He couldn't see a single thing. So what did he do? Have a heart attack, panic, freak out, as I would have? No, because he knew exactly what he was going to do. He had the backup plan. In fact, he and his coach had practiced for this. They practiced swimming with his goggles not working. There was, stories are told that, his coach would rip the goggles off his head and smash them, breaking the glass on the edge of the pool just for dramatic effect, I guess. But no, you will practice without being able to see. So he knew if this happened, my backup plan is to start counting my strokes. He knew exactly how many strokes it would take for him to get from one end of the pool to the other. So without missing a beat, because we know if you watch the Olympic Games, right, in swimming, you know that it can be just by like hundredths of a second that separates first and second or first and fifth place, right? So it means without losing a beat at all, he switched to his backup plan, which is counting his strokes.
Mm-hmm.
He made it to the other end of the pool. He finished that 200-meter fly in first place. He won the 8th Olympic gold medal, broke Olympic world history, and would go on to win 15 more medals in his career. That's the idea of foreshadowing failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had already planned what's going to happen if this bad thing should arise. And because he had planned that and practiced that, when it actually did happen, it didn't take him 100th of a second before he could switch over to that backup plan and meet his goal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same reason why when you get on an airplane, they say, in the event of a water landing, you'll find your life vests underneath your seat, or the oxygen mask will drop. They're telling you all these things that are like, why do they do this? It's just going to scare everybody, right? Or people stop listening, which is more likely. But it's because if that plane is having a water landing, if those oxygen masks do fall, you need to know what to do. That's not the time to be receiving instructions then or trying to troubleshoot your way out of this situation. You need to be able to, like Michael Phelps, quickly pivot to that backup plan. If you think about it in terms of organizations, right? If something bad happens, there's a major change in the stock market, say, and you need to quickly pivot what you're doing as an organization, that's when people are panicked, right? They're freaking out. They don't have the best mental space to be as most creative as possible to figure out what can we do now. You're short on time, you're thin on resources, you're scared, you're not able to, your brain isn't working in the same way as it would if you weren't in that same state of fight or flight. And so that's not the time for creative problem solving. You want to know what that plan B and plan C is. And if we take but that's the thing that we do least in our own personal goals, is that foreshadowing failure component, right? Unless we have a coach like Michael Phelps teaching us that, or we have somebody who's really good at risk management within our organization that's encouraging everybody to go through that. It's not intuitive for us to realize that there are huge motivational benefits of doing that, of coming up with all the obstacles, all the ways that your plan could fail. When we're most excited about a new challenge that we've set for ourselves, like new year, new me, yeah, let's go. We don't really want to at that moment start thinking about, and you know what? Here's 7 ways that it's totally not going to work out. Because it just feels like a bummer, right? No one wants to go through that because it just feels like, you're just telling me this is so hard. You're taking the wind out of my sails or whatever the feeling is. That's the experience. But we need to shift our thinking, right? We need to think about it in terms of here's backup plans. These are our safety nets, right? There might be obstacles along the way. And if they happen, we're even more likely to be able to push through them because we did that hard work in advance of figuring out what we're going to do.